A country talking to itself, London, 2 marches, 80,000 people, and a government that's scared of both of them. Today, London became 2 different countries. On one set of streets, 50,000 people marching behind Union flags, chanting that the Prime Minister should resign, following a man the government calls a far-right extremist. On another set of streets, less than 2 miles away, 30,000 people marching for Palestine, carrying flags of their own, calling the people on those other streets fascists. Between them, 4,000 police officers, armoured vehicles, helicopters, drones, and for the first time in British history, cameras that scan your face just for showing up. This is the story of what happened today in London, the good, the bad, and the ugly truth that nobody in power wants to say out loud. The good. Let's be honest about what actually went right today, because there is something worth saying. 80,000 people took to the streets of London and exercised their legal right to protest. That is democracy in action. Not comfortable democracy, not tidy democracy, but the real kind where people who fundamentally disagree can still make their voices heard. And for the most part, today held, by early afternoon, a handful of arrests. For a city hosting 2 opposing marches of this scale simultaneously, that is not nothing. There is also something powerful about the sheer fact that people still bother. It would be easy to conclude that most people have given up, that they've retreated into their phones and their rage and their echo chambers and stopped believing that showing up matters. Today, 80,000 people proved that wrong. They disagree violently about almost everything, but they're still here. They still think it's worth coming out. That's not nothing. In fact, in 2026, that might be everything. The bad. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Today wasn't just 2 marches. Today was a decision about whose voices get heard most loudly, and the government made that decision for you. The Palestine March had booked their route months in advance, a route that ended at Trafalgar Square, the political heart of this country. Parliament Square, Whitehall, the places where protest is supposed to land because that's where power lives. They didn't get it. Instead, the Metropolitan Police gave that space, the whole of it, to Tommy Robinson's march. The reason given: scale. But here's the problem with that logic. In March this year, the anti-racism countermarch outnumbered Robinson's movement by more than 4 to 1, 500,000 people on the streets. And yet today, it's Robinson's march that gets the steps of the political establishment. That is a statement. Then there's the facial recognition. Let's not bury this. Today, the state deployed live facial recognition cameras at a protest. Not at a crime scene, not at an airport, at a protest, at an event where people were exercising their legal, constitutional right to be heard. You walked past a camera, the camera scanned your face, the police ran it against a database, and you didn't consent. You weren't told, and you weren't suspected of anything. The biometrics commissioner said forces could end up in court over it. Said the technology isn't foolproof. Said it shouldn't be rushed. And they used it anyway. Once that line is crossed, it doesn't get uncrossed. The ugly truth. Here's what today was really about. And I don't mean the marches. I mean the fact that this is what Britain looks like. We are a country having 2 completely different conversations, and they're not even in the same room anymore. The people on those 2 sets of streets today don't just disagree with each other. They don't recognize each other's reality. They are operating from different sets of facts, different understandings of history, different ideas about what Britain is. That is not a policy disagreement. You can fix a policy disagreement. What you can't fix is when a country stops sharing the same conversation. And here's the part that nobody wants to say. Keir Starmer is being attacked from both sides simultaneously today. The Unite the Kingdom march chanting that he should go. The Palestine march accusing his government of complicity. His own health secretary resigned yesterday. And Reform UK just had its best local election results in history. A government can survive opposition from one direction. What it cannot survive is when it loses the argument on every front at once, while trying to be all things to all people. Starmer called today's march peddlers of hatred and division, and then his government handed them the political centre of London. That is not a strong position. That is a government making decisions based on fear of what happens if they don't, not based on what they actually believe. The ugly truth about today isn't the marches. The marches are just the symptom. The ugly truth is that Britain is a country in the middle of an identity crisis, about immigration, about foreign policy, about rights. And the people who are supposed to lead us are more focused on surviving it than solving it. 80,000 people took to the streets today because they felt unheard, not by each other, by the people in charge. And until that changes, this won't be the last Saturday like this. That's it from us today. The good, the bad, and the ugly truth. Always. If this made you think, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and follow the channel, because this story isn't over. Not by a long way.